So, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be tackling the Nakshatra of Pushya with the main man, Dr. Urchin Pai, right there on my left or right. I don't know which way you're going to see it. And man, this guy is making waves now, man. This guy's like Mr. Big Shot now. He's working on all sorts of apps and he's like taking over the world. And that's it. It's the end of the world now because Dr. Pai has entered the big games. So yeah, you got the apps you were talking about, and what is the name of the app that?
It's called Cosmic Insights.
Okay.
So this is something that I've been passionately working for the last 2 months.
Okay.
It's a great app that we developed, and hopefully, people would be able to see more features coming in it. And we want to make it like a one-stop shop for people who are enthusiasts and people who are aspirants of Jyotish Shastra to go to just to one app, and it should be able to help you do everything. Right from having your chart, looking at transits, looking at reports, specialized specialist reports, also looking at nakshatras, panchang, all of that. So
yeah,
and also it's going to tell you, this app would help you tell you when would be the best time for you to travel, when would be the best time to apply for a job, when would be the best time to do various things,
Okay.
When would be the best time to ask your boss for a raise.
Yeah.
So, and this app, what we're trying to develop is definitely the basis would be nakshatras. The ground would be nakshatras. Yeah. And what we're also trying to do, Kapiel, and this is something has always been my dream, and is to see if we can use the information that we can get from the users to help the users make a choice in their life, in terms of what would they like to do, on a specific day. So imagine if we know that Pushya Nakshatra is excellent for going and looking and shopping for, or going to try out new cuisine or look for food in a different restaurant. You would want to try something else. What type of restaurants would be better for you? So helping people to make the right choice, based on the help from the cosmos. So trying to be attuned with the cosmic laws, and also trying to help people to achieve more than what they could normally do. If you're going against the grain, then if you do not have luck with you, but if you have luck with you and if you have the stars with you, I think the effort
it always helps.
It always helps.
Always helps. So
that's not the only thing. It's not only the stars which really help you, but it needs your effort and your free will also. So that is definitely.
Okay. So today we're gonna dive into the Pushya Nakshatra. What is that? The pair with the Punarvasu?
Yeah. Punarpusam. Yeah. Punarpusam. So this is the second. This is the paired nakshatras. Although many scholars do not believe them that they're paired, but when you come and you study about them, you can always study them in pairs. Just like you have the Falgunis, Purva Falguni, Uttar Falguni. You have the Ashadas, which is Purva Ashada and Uttara Ashada. You have the Bhadrapadas, which is Purva Bhadrapada and Uttara Bhadrapada. Likewise, this is also a paired nakshatra. Okay, there are other paired nakshatras also, like you have Vishaka and Anuradha. They're paired because Vishaka initially was called as Radha, and the following Radha was called as Anuradha.
Okay.
Anu means following, next, right? And then you have Shravana and Dhanishta, because Dhanishta was also called as Shravishta. Shravana and Shravishta.
Okay.
Shravana is the ear. Okay. Shravishta is the eardrum.
Yeah. Okay. The drum. Yeah.
Drum. The eardrum.
The sound that helps.
The sound. Exactly.
Make the ear feel alive. Like, oh, I can hear it. Yeah.
And that's why you find great musicians, people who have interest in listening to music, or people who like to play musical instruments. They're very, very with the beat. People who can play the drum and all of that, because it's a eardrum. So the physical ear is Shravana, but the literal ear, what you can hear within you, is Shravishta, which is Dhanishta.
Ah, interesting.
Right. So today we're going to talk about Pushya. Now, whenever you talk about Pushya, the most common things that you see is Pushya, the word means to nourish, to grow, to increase, to enhance, to thrive, to prosper. It's a reference to the blossoming of a flower. And especially, it's not a normal flower, it's the lotus. Because if you look at the lotus usually grows in muddy waters. And it draws its sustenance from a very long stalk which goes deep inside the water and to the base, and from the sand or from the mud, it draws sustenance.
Okay.
So that's the same thing that you see with Pushya. Pushya is about this nourishment. It means to preserve, to protect, to replenish, to multiply, and to strengthen. So everything, whatever I've mentioned now, is all associated with Pushya. Now, there is also another name for Pushya. In the Rig Veda, it was never called as Pushya. There was a different name for Pushya. It was called as Tishya. So what is Tishya? Tishya, it means, it has various meanings. Tishya typically means being lucky or being fortunate, being successful. But if you go deeper into it, in Rig Veda they only talk about Tishya. And Rig Veda says that this is one star which never vanishes from the sky. There is a verse in Rig Veda which mentions this. And Tishya was also a reference to the Indian gooseberry, which is called as Amla. We call it Amla.
Amla, yeah.
Amla or Avla. Avla, Amla, different names. They're called. It's called Indian gooseberry. It's very good. So that's another meaning of Tishya.
But how did you know that Tishya was referring to Pushya? Does it have anything to do with the star system of Pushya, or how is it that you figured out?
In Rig Veda, they talk about this star very specifically, and then this was exactly the nakshatra on the basis of which the Rig Veda can be dated. Right? Many of them feel that now Rig Veda, many of them feel that it was written around the vernal equinox when it happened in Shatapatha Brahmanites. It was a reference to Kritika Nakshatra. But there are some scholars who also believe that Rig Veda was written even further before. Because Shatapatha Brahmana mentions it was Kritika Nakshatra. That was about, I would say, 2400 BC or 2400 BC. Now, if some of the scholars were to believe that this would have happened, the vernal equinox would have happened in Tishya, because Tishya, they always said, was a star in the sky which never vanishes, which means it was always there and they could see it. And if you make that the vernal equinox, then you're going to date it back to maybe 7,300 BC.
Okay.
That's roughly about, say, 9,000 years ago. Because because the scholars believe, if you want to make this as a thing that was a reference to the summer solstice, then it would be a very, very conservative estimate would be Tishya would make it, Rig Veda would be around 800 BC. I think that is very, very early. Rig Veda was much older than that. It was not 800 BC. It was much older than that. So you can go from 2400 BC to 7300 BC. That would be the right time. And that is when this reference that they talked about, Pushya, was a reference to the celestial archer who guards the Amrit, the marksman who guards the Amrit. It's an arrow, because if you look at Pushya Nakshatra, it was believed in those times, Pushya Nakshatra looked like an arrow, a sharp arrow. Okay, and that is why they tried to connect Pushya with the heavenly or the celestial archer who protects the Soma, right? And hence, one of the symbols of this nakshatra is an arrow with a circle. The circle is the protection, an arrow is somebody who protects the Soma. Okay, the nectar of immortality. So Pushya is one nakshatra where you can find that many people come and seek this nakshatra is because there is the Amrit. Amrit is the knowledge that you get. In today's time, your Amrit is the divine knowledge that you get, and that is Jyotisha. So this nakshatra is very, very special from that perspective. And in today's times, if you find this name Pushya, it's usually the name of a woman in India. Usually,
sounds like a woman's name, Pushya.
Pushya, yeah, it's a woman's name. Okay, and then I started researching on Pushya and trying to find why this is. We say a celestial archer and all of that, and then we go and try to find out why is this connected with with women, especially the girl's name would be called as Pushya. Now, that brought me to studying more on the deity who is associated with this nakshatra, who is called as Brahaspati. Okay, Brahaspati was the high priest of the godly forces or the gods, and he's also called as Guru, or he represents Jupiter. Mm-hmm. Okay, now I went a little deeper to study about Brahaspati, and that's when I found out that he was a great political advisor. Okay, and when I started studying about Brahaspati, immediately it took me to Chanakya. Have you heard of Chanakya?
No.
Okay. Chanakya was a great political advisor to Chandragupta Maurya, one of the dynasties which was very popular in India.
Chandragupta I've heard, yeah.
Yeah, Chandragupta. He was his kind of prime minister, Chanakya.
Okay.
And he wrote an absolutely stunning book called on Artha Shastra or Niti Shastra, which many politicians even today read that book to understand the basis of how a kingdom is being run. So, that book was about, I think, 15 chapters with 160 sections in that. It's a beautiful book. Mm-hmm. And it's and what he mentions, what Chanakya mentions, and he refers to Brahaspati, and he refers to Shukracharya. Shukracharya is Venus.
Yeah.
Shukracharya.
Yeah.
He is the preceptor of the Daityas or the Asuras or the demons, right? Now, whenever you go and study Artha Shastra, Niti Shastra, whatever we call it, it's a political thesis of trying to find out how to build a kingdom and how to run a kingdom. Now, in that, there is the first chapter. Chanakya talks about the king's responsibility. The first chapter, he first prays to these political advisors, who is Guru Shukracharya and Guru Brahaspati. And he first mentions about Guru Shukracharya because he believed that Guru Shukracharya was a more successful advisor, than Brahaspati, because he needed to be very cunning in his conduct in politics and war, which allowed his his people who were cosmically weaker and disadvantaged because they were the Daityas in comparison to the Devas, the gods. So he had to be very, very cunning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the first chapter, he mentions that the king's responsibility was not only about education and motivation, they have to understand the motivation of their enemies. And then have to strategize appropriate modes of conduct. And in that chapter, in the first chapter, he mentions how the king's security details. He talks about how the king's security should be. And that includes his personal bodyguards of the king. And this kind of shows how Chanakya believed that the innermost circle of the king had to be women. The innermost circle of the bodyguards of the king, he believed that they always had to be women because they had greater dedication and greater loyalty towards the ruler. In today's times, there was one person who followed this. And if you know, have you heard of Colonel Muammar Gaddafi?
Yeah.
The Libyan.
Yeah, he had women bodyguards.
Bodyguards.
Yep.
They were called as the Amazonian force. He had maybe 200 women guarding him. That was this innermost circle or the ring that he had. Now, why I'm coming to this is Pushya sits very much in Cancer, which is a natural fourth house of mother and protection and nourishment that a mother gives to his child.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's why you see that the kings always in those times used to have a secret ring of women around them who would protect them. And that's why you find that this word Tishya was also connected to women, because they protect and nourish. So that is the association that you see with this, with this nakshatra. It's about that sort of protection that you get. The kings used to be protected by this secret group of, and Gaddafi, if you can go and Google up, you'll see his Amazonian army, about 150, 200 women guarding him. And then that was his innermost. And then you had obviously the other rings of people who guarded him.
Yeah.
Now that got me to see if he had any prominent planets, although it's debatable to know about his date of birth and exact time of birth. And my sense is he must be having his ascendant in Pushya Nakshatra. Because when I put the time what was there online, it was coming almost in the fourth pada of Punarvasu.
Okay.
So there's a website called AstroTheme. So I went to AstroTheme to see what is it. It's given the 7th of June, 1942 at 8:35 a.m. Okay, that's the timing which was given for Muammar Gaddafi. And you can find that his Venus is in Ashwini Nakshatra. Okay, so all the force that he had, they were trained in art of warfare, in martial arts, and use of guns. And apparently he was one of the only people who was allowed to take his personal bodyguard, who was a woman, with the gun. And I think the UN discussions which used to happen. So he used to get special permission to take his bodyguard, and she always had a gun with her. She's like the archer, the celestial archer, protecting the Soma, which is the king.
Yeah.
That is Pushya, the nourishment. So this is what you see with this nakshatra, is this thing of protecting somebody, nurturing somebody, trying to bring out the best in them. So this is this theme that I've seen is very prominently playing out with Pushya. Now Pushya, the other thing that I wanted to talk about Pushya, as I said, is it was also called by different names. It was called as Jiva. Pushya was also called as Jiva. Brahatpasyamana, okay, which means, Pushya is that nakshatra where Jupiter gets exalted. At 5 degrees in the first pada of Pushya, Jupiter gets exalted. So Brahat Patsyamana means it is Jupiter's measure of trying to find out how much of knowledge or wisdom or depth of knowledge. Right? There was another name for this. It was called as Siddhya. Siddhya also means lucky. These people they're supposed to be very, very lucky. Siddhya also means perfection, being perfect. Hence, what you find is a lot of successful, prosperous people, would be born in this nakshatra. And also, these people could also be associated with facilitating the communion with the divine. When I say facilitating the communion with the divine is the priests. They should be very strong Pushya. They should have good qualities of Pushya in them. Now, there is a shadow side of Pushya, which people do not talk about, is this nakshatra being the 8th nakshatra. It is also called as Chidra.
Okay.
Chidra means trying to pierce holes, trying to make, trying to kind of pierce, leak, or to tear apart things. That is the reason that this nakshatra, although it was very, very favorable for doing all the things, it was not used for marriages. You can do everything. You can start on a Pushya, and there have been researches which are going on today that people are trying to see if medicines are administered on a Pushya nakshatra day, then they give you quick results. Very, very quick. Okay, that's because see, this nakshatra, whenever moon transits this nakshatra, it creates a very special yoga called as Pushamrita yoga. Pushya Amrita yoga. Amrita is the nectar. Pushya means which nourishes, or which heals. Okay, so when moon transits this nakshatra on a Thursday, it is called as Guru Pushamrita yoga, a very special yoga which is formed. Right? That's, some of them use this Guru Pushamrita yoga also during the holy dips, the Kumbh Mela, whenever it happens. They would, if there is a configuration of the planets which come with Guru Pushamrita, it's supposed to be extremely powerful. The water body would be, nourishing to heal you of any diseases that you have. And whenever the moon transits this nakshatra on a Sunday, and it happens to fall on a Sunday, it is called as a Ravi Pushamrita.
Okay.
Now, what people used to do is, whenever moon used to transit, okay, and it is Ravi Pushamrita or Guru Pushamrita, they used to buy gold. People used to purchase gold. So that is how this nakshatra was very strongly connected with, wealth. It's a wealth-giving nakshatra. And people also used to administer medicines for children, especially for children who feel keeping weak all the time.
What you just said about the gold part is something I've also heard, where the people who have like a moon in this nakshatra or prominent planets in the nakshatra are always advised to wear gold. Why is that?
So that it makes you feel lucky. For some, gold becomes lucky, and this is Tishya and Siddhya. Siddhya means perfect. Gold is giving you that element of Guru, or the sun god as well. The healing qualities will come in, the nurturing qualities will come in, the protection will come in.
Okay.
See, this nakshatra is exactly the 9th nakshatra from Revati nakshatra.
Okay.
And the deity of Revati is called as Pushyan.
Yes.
Again, it's the same deity that you've seen who gives you this. Pushyan means nourishment, nurturing. It's the same, because the 9th nakshatra is called as Paramamitra in the Tara the Navatara chakra, or you look at the Tarabala system of nakshatras,
yeah,
they say the ninth nakshatra is called Paramamitra. And this nakshatra brings in a lot of those qualities of Revati nakshatra also here. Being the deity of Revati nakshatra,
okay,
this nakshatra is supposed to be very good for people who want to travel on pilgrimages, because it brings the blessings of Pushya, who is the god of safe travel.
I see.
Okay. So Pushya is also supposed. See, why is Pushya said to be? There are many people who would have different views on why it is not suitable for marriages.
Right.
For everything else, this nakshatra was supposed to be very good. Now, mythologically, it was believed that Ram and Sita got married on Pushya nakshatra.
Okay.
And their marriage was not supposed to be, a very, good marriage, because even though they loved each other and there was patni, that means he had only one wife. Because in those times, it was only Sri Ram who said to have only one wife. That was the concept of one wife came in, because till then the kings used to have multiple wives.
Oh, man, you ruined it all for us here.
Sri Ram. Are you able to handle one wife now? Or do you need
yeah, that is exactly. That's why I need 5 more wives, man. I'm not going to run to the other one.
So you have to go to pre-Ram days,
Yeah.
when the kings used to have many wives. Of course, after that also many people used to have, but it was Sri Ram who actually brought in this concept of
They
having
still
one
do in
wife.
US. What is this called? In polygamy, or in Utah, they have these polygamous culture where they have like 3-4 wives. Still.
Polyandry, what do you call it? Polygamy. Polygamy, yeah.
Polygamy, yeah. So they had the TV show Sister Wives. Is based on this guy from Utah. He's a Mormon. I don't know if it's Mormon or something else, but yeah, he had 3 wives in 2016, 17. So still going on, man. We're still enjoying it.
So that was the only reason. That's one of the reasons.
Okay.
Another reason is this nakshatra couple is ruled by Brahaspati. Okay. Now there is another mythology very popularly where Brahaspati's consort or wife elopes with Chandra or the moon god. Why? Because Brahaspati is so busy in doing the yajnas, the havan and all those pujas, and trying to plot against the asuras, and trying to advise, being the political advisor of the devas, or he is also called as Indra Purohit. Indra Purohit means the priest of Indra, the king of the gods. So he's always there at the beck and call to see how he can strengthen Indra all the time, because the Daityas and the Asuras, the demons, are always plotting against Devas. So he's always there. So he kind of neglects his family. He doesn't go home. He's always there doing all those yagnas for many years, 12 years. So what happens when you have a very beautiful wife at home? So Chandra, the moon, comes in.
Man.
Exactly.
Feel lonely. Man, Moon is like a player, man.
Exactly.
Once he takes Rohini, now he takes Pushya. Oh, man.
Absolutely.
Guy is a prince, man.
So he elopes with Tara, who is the wife of Brahaspati, and he fails to return Tara. When Brahaspati finds out after some time that his wife is no longer with him, he didn't even realize that she is eloped with him. Then there was a war which breaks up. So all the Asuras back the moon, which means Guru Shukracharya, which is Venus, and all the demons actually back the moon. Okay, the moon says, she didn't. I didn't steal her from you. She came by her own will.
Exactly.
Because see, moon is absolutely charming. He's charismatic. He's enigmatic, but he's very manipulative. These are the exact traits of moon, and that's why moon needs to be studied very, very carefully, because it's the mind. He can play tricks on your mind all the time.
Yeah.
right? So Tara is nothing but in Sanskrit it means a star. So it was more symbolic of saying that the moon was stealing the show from Brihaspati. And the war broke out, and the Devatas supported Brihaspati, and the demons went on the side of moon, and that war started, and then it had to be diffused, and Brahma himself had to come down to diffuse that war, and he requested Tara to go back to her dutiful husband, who was not taking care of her because he was never giving her enough time.
Okay.
That is the only reason why you feel that this nakshatra is not suitable for marriages, because one of the partners might feel, not giving enough attention to that marriage. It's like Brihaspati, who didn't pay attention to his own household, and he's gone to help other people's household. He goes and does havans in other people's houses, but he doesn't take care of his own house.
I see. Okay.
That is the only reason why Jupiter is excellent or gives its benefic influences on the houses that it aspects, but it is miserable in the house where it is posited.
Okay. Like they call it, the term for this is called Diya Tale Andhera.
Yes.
Jupiter's placement.
Yeah. So if Jupiter is placed in the second, fifth house, that's what the concept of, Karako Bhava Nasha comes.
Mm-hmm.
Karako Bhava Nasha means it will destroy the Karaka, the significations of the houses, which it is the lord of that house, or the Karaka of that house.
Mm-hmm.
So Jupiter is Karaka, or the significator of the second house, fifth house, seventh, some will call them seventh house. Ninth house, 11th house, and also sometimes 10th house.
Man, 10th house is like so many significators. Sun, Mercury, Saturn.
Sun, Mercury, absolutely. Everybody.
And Jupiter, yeah. So
2, 5, 9, 11 definitely, and also 10.
Well, that's something K.N. Rao contradicted. He's like, in my case studies, the Karak Nash Bhava
doesn't work.
Not working. He said, I don't see that working at all.
Okay. That is for other planets, maybe, but Jupiter definitely happens.
No, he was actually referring to one of the, for Jupiter, you're saying, okay.
I'm saying for Jupiter. I'll tell you why, because Jupiter is, no matter what people say, and, everybody says Jupiter means expansion, growth, it's good, it's benefic, and all of that. Mm-hmm. If you really know, Jupiter can be the most malefic planet in your chart as well.
Oh, yeah.
And
if you bring that maleficness in expansion way.
Expands it. Yeah, exactly. Right? And also, if people do not realize that Jupiter is one, A.V. Sundaram used to tell me that Jupiter is one of the most selfish planets. It's so self-centered. It's always about self-growth and self-thing. It's always about self. It's a selfish planet. And he says, Venus is the planet which loves to share, to give away. So wherever Jupiter goes in your natal chart, in general, I'm saying, that house becomes very selfish. You become very selfish about that house, very self-centered about that house. And wherever Venus has gone in the chart, that is the house that you want to share. Imagine, say, if your Venus or if your Jupiter is in your fourth house. Fourth house is your peace of mind. Fourth house is your, we have discussed this before, Kapiel. Fourth house is, many of them feel fourth house is for mother, but I have a different concept. I say it is actually the womb of the mother.
Womb of the mother, okay.
Okay. I sometimes consider third house to be the mother. It's very different. Why? Because if ninth house is the father, seventh from it is the third house.
Okay.
Okay. If third house is the mother, fourth house is the nourishment or sustenance that you get from the mother through the umbilical cord. Because when you're in the womb of the mother, how do you sustain yourself? She feeds you from her womb or her placenta. You're in a placenta.
Yeah.
And through the tube, which goes to your navel, that's the umbilical cord through which you're nourished and you're sustained. So fourth house is essentially the womb of your mother.
Okay.
And fourth house is also your graveyard. Why it is your graveyard? Because 10th house is your karma. Okay. The zenith of all. So fourth house becomes, when you complete all your karmas in life, then you come to your fourth house for resting forever. You find comfort, or you are at peace only in two places. One is your womb of your mother, because you're nourished, you're protected. And next, in your graveyard. That's the most comfortable place for you to be in. Because once you start walking around, once you come into life and you come into this world, it's all about going through the stress, the pains and all those things. But imagine when you were in the womb of your mother, you felt really, really nice because you didn't want to come out. For those 9 months, you're being nourished and nurtured. So fourth house is nourishment, because it's the second house from the third house. It's sustenance of the third house. Right? So that's why I see sometimes also the third house to be the mother, because it's just a seventh from the ninth. If you take, the spouse of your father has to be seventh from himself, isn't it?
But then in BPHS, he gives ninth house for the father, fourth house for the mother. Is that?
No, I'm saying that's not wrong. It's not wrong.
Yeah.
It's correct, but you have to know that fourth house is given to the womb of the mother. That's where you come from. Because once you come out of the womb, that's when you become independent. Until then, you are dependent on somebody else.
Yeah.
You become independent. And that's why fourth house, you can also see mother from the fourth house. I'm not saying the only house that you could see. The best thing if you want to see mother and father is fourth from moon and ninth from sun. That's the best combination to see the father. That will really say who your father is, what sort of a father is, and what nakshatras are falling there will give you greater clues.
Okay. Yeah. I see. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And similarly, you have to see why was 10th house very important in those times? Because 10th house becomes the maraka for your father, because it's second house from ninth. Okay?
Yeah.
In those times when the father died, okay, you became in a patriarchic in a lineage, you had to take over the businesses of your father.
Yeah.
All professions. So it was more like, that's why the Varna system came in. Okay, because you were only trying to take the profession or the businesses of your father. So if he was a goldsmith, then you go and sit and you start being a goldsmith. If you're a blacksmith, if your father was a blacksmith, then it was a profession of your father.
Yeah.
You had no choice those days. Okay, if you're a Kshatriya, you're a warrior, then you had to go and fight. So the son of a warrior became a warrior. He never became a priest. Have you seen that in the olden times? The son of a warrior becoming a priest, or the son of a priest becoming a warrior. And that has happened. It has happened with Parashuram. Because Parashuram was born in the lineage, okay, of Brahmins, and he took up the weapons. And he slayed all the Kshatriyas on this planet. All the Kshatriyas. And he belongs to the Bhargava clan. Remember that. So he is a very strong Venus. Bhargava means the clan of Bhrigu. Parashuram belongs to the lineage of Bhrigu.
Okay.
And that's why you see Parashuram carries an axe. Okay? So wherever Venus is sitting in your chart, you would find some cut or some mark there. Because naturally also you see Venus rules the second house and the seventh house then in the natural kundli, the Kalapurusha kundli.
Yeah.
If you make Aries as the lagna, then Venus rules the Marakasthanas.
Yeah.
second house and the seventh house. Right?
Right.
That's why wherever Venus is sitting, you might find a mark or you might get hurt in some time in your life, or some illnesses might come to that part of the body.
And also one thing you can see is if you look at seventh house as the ascendant, and wherever Venus is sitting from the seventh house, that body part of your spouse will have a cut or a mark.
Exactly. You're absolutely right.
Because I clearly saw that.
Yes.
Even in my own case.
Wow.
So,
it works.
Yeah.
And it's the basics. If you understand the basics and mythology, you will understand Jyotish.
Yeah.
You didn't have to really think and be like the Rishi.
Yeah.
Just think like how the Rishis used to think.
Yeah.
Absolute basics. You don't need any great sutras to understand this concept.
Nope.
Because, Parashuram had the axe. Also, Venus becomes the Maraka, the natural Maraka. So, there you get it.
All right.
Okay.
Perfect. So
let's go to, go ahead. Ask me.
No. So now I was just saying to you, okay, so what is then Pushya?
Okay. Now, Pushya is excellent for all activities, I said, except marriages. They become excellent advisors, business advisors. They become new age gurus. You find a lot of new age gurus with Pushya very prominent. Then also the hospitality industry. I've seen caregiving, hospitality industry, brilliant. People who are associated with spa, who have restaurants, who have resorts. I've seen this over and over again. People, in the hospitality industry have very strong planets and Pushya. Okay. And then these people could be excellent in chanting of mantras. So even if there are no malefics influencing, then they have a desire to learn and study from different scriptures. Okay, so this is another theme that I've seen with Pushya. Pushya is absolutely brilliant for having other ceremonies except marriages. And if you know, Pushya was connected to all the grains. If you go to Bharat Samhita, which is written by Varahamira, he says Pushya is connected to grains like wheat, rice, barley, sugarcane.
Okay.
And in the olden times, what people used to do is they used to keep a jar full of grains in the house, all the grains, whether it is wheat, whether it was barley, whether it was rice, they used to keep it. Okay, and that jar used to be called as Bharani. Bharani was the name. And by keeping these grains at home, it was believed that Yama will never come to you. Because these grains were so sacred that they used to believe that you can evade death by keeping, these grains in the house.
Like any kind of like a bag, like we get now from grocery stores, right? Or does it have to be specifically made in a certain way?
No, in those times, they were called as Bharani. Bharani means it was like a kind of a vessel made of like an earthen pot or a porcelain or something like that. Like Chinaware or something like that. Those times, I've seen both variations, like Matka also, but there is the porcelain type Bharani, it's called. In the Bharani, they used to keep all the things, and they used to, because the Bharani, I think, used to keep away the termites which come and eat up, or they used to do. So Bharani was the reference, and Bharani is associated with Yama. Okay, so even when you go to weddings, what do? You throw akshat. What is akshat? Akshat is nothing but rice with some turmeric or some sindoor mixed together, and then you throw those on the wedding couple. Because turmeric brings you the qualities of Jupiter in it, and rice is supposed to be blessing. So it's like the blessings that you're throwing on them. It's like you're showering blessings of Jupiter on them, because turmeric or sindoor and all of this mixed together, that's called akshat.
Okay.
Okay. So you know that, you see when the marriage is happening, people will start throwing rice on the couple.
Yeah.
Because that brings the qualities of Pushya in them.
Okay.
Okay. The wellness. Although you don't do anything on a Pushya Nakshatra, but bringing the qualities of Pushya and Brahaspati and the blessings of Jupiter comes through throwing the rice with turmeric or sindoor.
Okay.
Now, it is also said that this nakshatra was connected to sugarcane and forest. And many people I see that who want to, when you want to give away everything in life, then you say you retreat to the forest. It's vanaprastha, it is called. Trying to leave everything and then go to the forest. In those times, forest was considered to be. So there are two nakshatras I've seen where this forest thing comes in, or you stay very close to the forest, or you retire, very close to the forest. It could be Pushya and it could be Jyeshtha. These are two nakshatras I've seen where people are drawn to go very close to the forest, having prominent planets in Pushya or in Jyeshtha.
Okay.
I can see a broad smile on your face. I know it must be saying something to you.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. No, that is very informative. What you said about that.
See, there was, if you look at Jyeshtha, it was Indra who used to do all those acts of rejoicing, drinking, Soma, listening to the Gandharvas, music, celestial nymphs dancing around him. He's always in ecstasy, but then he does an act which is very demeaning, very like infidelity.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly he realizes and he gets cursed, and then he retreats to. And also, there is another nakshatra which is very strongly connected to forests. Is Kritika. So, Kritika, Vishaka, Jyeshtha, and Pushya. These people want to retreat sometimes. When they get too much of, popularity, fame, you see them retreat. Many people, what happens is, you get a lot of fame, you go ahead. But these people also want to reflect, so they come back. Going to the forest actually meant going inside. See, this is what people didn't understand in those times. They think going to the forest means, this mind is a big forest. Okay, because you have a lot of rubbish being thrown into this mind. Yeah. Going to the forest means go and clean yourself, get rid of all this rubbish, go inside and try to see what is there inside. That was the deep forest that you wanted to go. That is, in sense, it was like saying go into deep meditation, go within you. Okay, so let me just tell you about some of these. I was discussing this with a very, very experienced nakshatra scholar who has about 25, 30 years of experience. And, this is what she had to tell me about Pushya. Now, people, all your viewers can go and test this, Kapiel.
Mm-hmm.
And I have not tested them, but I would like to share this with her observation for 25 years. She says, men mostly in Pushya would have French beard. I don't know where it is coming. Yeah. Usually who have prominent planets in Pushya, which is you have your moon, your ascendant, and if you're male, you say, this is what she has said. I don't know what is okay. And another funny thing she said is Pushya is about putting on weight. You find a lot of people who have very prominent planets in Pushya, they are a little bit plumpy. Okay. And And also she says that women and mothers who have very prominent planets in Pushya, they kind of breastfeed their children for very long years, because it shows the udder
Cow's
of the
udder
cow.
too.
Yeah,
The
cow's
symbol.
udder. Yeah, right. And what she also says is, if men have very prominent planets, okay, it's funny, but they could also have little boobs. That's what she says. They could also have like the udder of the cow.
Oh man.
Okay, it's funny, but I know.
Man boobs. That's what she meant.
Yeah. So okay, very religious, very very well versed in mantras and Puranas.
Mm-hmm.
They are absolute foodies. They love eating food, and they love to drink milk. And usually they love milk in powdered form, milk powder. Even though they grow up, they would want to get this baby food, baby, what do you call, milk products that come for the babies, because
baby cereal,
baby cereal and baby milk powder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they like to have that with their coffee or tea. They don't like to take
even as grown-ups.
Even as grown-ups.
Wow.
They love it. That's what she mentioned. I mean, that's again a reference to the cow and the udder of the cow. Milk products and milk powder. They are escapists. They try to escape from the situation. And what she also says is, they eat food, and even after they keep chewing. You find some children, you put food in the mouth, the food will be in the mouth, but they don't chew. And after some time, when you remind them you have to chew your food, they start chewing.
Yeah. Okay.
And sometimes they also forget, and they sit like that. So you have to remind. That trait usually comes in Pushya, because Pushya is associated with the goat. The animal, the sacred animal associated with is the goat. Now, what the goats do, they take the food in the mouth, they take it in the tummy, and after some time they bring the food in the mouth again and they start chewing.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can Google it. Most of the goats usually have this. Is because why they want to do that is they want whatever they're chewing, they want the nourishment of the entire thing to be absorbed. Now, this is another theme that I want to tell you, Kapiel, is if you have malefics influencing Pushya,
mm-hmm.
you can find that the natives could be malnourished. The absorption of the body, what does nourishment mean? Nourishment means when whatever food is being given to you, your body is able to absorb that food and the contents and the nourishment from the nutrients from the food. When you have malefics influencing Pushya, then these people are malnourished. They might have deficiencies in the body. They are either not able to synthesize food, they're not able to absorb food. All of those problems come in if they're malefics. If they're benefics, then you see everything they eat, even if they eat just some pills of air, they bloat, they put on weight very easily. Okay, so this is the theme of Pushya Nakshatra, because it's about nourishment. Another thing, again, coming from the same theme of the goat, they are very slow eaters, Pushya Nakshatra. Okay, and they also have a feeling that they are indispensable. They always try to say, it's because of me that this thing is happening. It was me. It's Brahaspati. I told you. Brahaspati likes to. Yeah. It's probably what we call that. Narcissism. Is it? Is that the right thing? Is that the right word? Being, trying to. It's always self-interest.
Self-centered.
Self-centered. Yeah. Self-centered. And badly afflicted Pushya, she mentions that they get exploited. They get taken for granted. If Pushya is badly affected, they get taken for granted, or they would be exploited by other people.
Okay.
And then she says these people like to boast about themselves, and whenever the circumstances go against them, they try to blame it on somebody else. It's like, Kapil, there is a saying, success has many fathers, failures are always orphans.
Yeah.
Okay, success has many fathers. Whenever you become successful, everybody would like to associate with you. They say, "Oh, yeah, I gave you that, that pen that you signed on which got you this $1 or $1 billion."
Yeah.
Everybody will try to say that, "Oh, I was there. I was instrumental in your success." If you're a failure, everybody just abandons you.
Mm-hmm.
They're like orphans.
Yeah.
That's the same theme which plays in Pushya Nakshatra. Is people, come and support you when you become successful, but when you are unsuccessful, you become a loner. Nobody is backing you up. Nobody is there with you. Okay, and that's when you find most of the Pushya natives trying to blame this on somebody else. Oh, I became a failure not because of my inabilities. It's because you didn't support me at the right time. Or they start blaming on everybody, on their spouse, their children.
Yeah.
That tendency you see.
Okay.
And the last point what she mentioned was these people like to wear plain clothes. Okay. Plain clothes. No stripes or no polka dots or anything. They like to have plain clothes. One more point which I wanted to make is the best remedy for Pushya Nakshatra is to go to the people tree and worship the people tree, because it was called as Ashwata. Okay. Now, Ashwata is very, very sacred for many people in India. Why? Because Ashwata, the word Ashwata means people tree. Ashwata means the tree under which the Ashwas were yoked. Ashwas are the horses. The horses were yoked under this tree. And in the olden times, Ashwata was also used for imparting knowledge. The Guru Shishya Parampara, the Gurukul system, the Guru used to sit under the tree and the students used to congregate around him.
Yeah.
And then he used to give so that is why this nakshatra is very strongly connected to spiritual wisdom, spiritual knowledge. They have very key, and they go deeper into studying new systems, old scriptures. And that interest would be even more now if they have prominent planets in Pushya, is because Saturn has moved into Mula Nakshatra. It's going to your roots. Okay, and even more now is because Pushya becomes the 8th house. It falls in the 8th house from where Saturn is transiting now. It's a Saturn ruled nakshatra.
Right.
And if you take Sagittarius as the lagna, because it's transiting, so Pushya becomes the 8th. That means there is awakening in occult sciences. More and more people will be interested in learning Jyotisha. More and more people would be interested in, holistic healing, therapies. More and more people would move towards that because of this 8th from where Saturn is moving.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, now whenever I try to study transit, I always make that planet the ascendant, see which house it rules, its nakshatra, where it's transiting rules, and you get a much better sense of what is to happen.
Absolutely.
But one thing is so funny, though, we were talking about the people tree. I don't know what it was. Since a young age, it was I don't know if it was just kids around me saying, or some adults, but they were like always referred to the people tree where I lived in Old Delhi, near People Mahadev. There was a people tree, very old tree. But they always said that people tree has chudal in there. What is that? Have you ever heard something like this? Because anytime when in my gully, I used to walk past this tree at night, I used to run like from one portion. I know this tree is coming. I'm running until I pass the tree. It was just a psychological thing because as a kid, you just like scared, and they tell you, "Oh, she's gonna be there at night." And what is that whole myth about?
See, there is a belief in the Indian system, in mythology, that it is the abode of Nairati. Nairati is the ruler of Mula Nakshatra.
Okay.
Okay. She's also called as Lakshmi. Lakshmi. Lakshmi is
Like
the elder
Jeshta.
sister. Yeah, she's the Jeshta. She is the elder sister of Lakshmi.
Okay.
Okay. She is. She brings. In those times, she's associated with ill luck, death, decay. Nairuti is associated with all of that. But what people have not understood is, and worship. She's not being worshipped today is because people think, why should you worship a goddess who brings in destruction, decay, death, calamities? But she was the goddess who protects you from those calamities. Although Nairati was never allowed to, or Alakshmi was never allowed to be brought inside the house, but she was always worshipped outside the house. Even during Diwali, she's worshipped.
Okay.
She's worshipped, Alakshmi. And it is believed that she sits on this peepal tree, and every Saturday, her younger sister Lakshmi visits her to pay, her respect to Lakshmi. And many people believe that going and watering the peepal tree on a Saturday is supposed to be excellent. Why? Because, and then there is a ritual, many people used to follow, is they used to go to the peepal tree, water the peepal tree, and then go straight back home. Why? Because it was symbolic of you going to the peepal tree. You know that Lakshmi is going to be there because she's visiting her elder sister. And then you are kind of escorting Lakshmi and saying, Lakshmi, please come with me. Let's go to my home.
Okay.
So you escort her to your home. So that is bringing Lakshmi to your home on a Saturday.
Okay.
Except on a Sunday, except with an exception of a Sunday, all other days are good to go and water the peepal tree. And this is mentioned even in Lal Kitab. You never go to a peepal tree on a Sunday. Except on a Sunday, all the days you can go, and then you can go around the peepal tree. Why is peepal tree so very important, and why it was so sacred? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, among trees, I'm Ashwata.
Okay.
So he's equivalent to Vishnu. Right? He says that in Bhagavad Gita, amongst trees I'm Ashwata. But going to the peepal tree, why is important is because peepal tree gives you oxygen 24/7.
Oh, I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, there are two trees in India which is very popular. One is called as Odumbara. It is called cluster fig tree, cluster fig tree, and this is called a sacred fig tree, Ashwata. So a lot of people, why they want to go to the Ashwata is if you have bronchitis, asthma, and all of that, you go and you circumambulate or you go around the tree, isn't it? You must have seen people, because then you're breathing fresh oxygen, what is being generated. So that's why you feel more healthy. You feel more, going to the trees and watering them.
Okay.
See, the watering was only symbolic. It was more to be closer to the tree so that you can get the vibrations of the tree, you can get the fresh oxygen.
I see. Oh, okay. Makes sense.
That's why the gurus used to sit under the peepal tree and then give the gurukul, the sishyas. Because when you have fresh oxygen, your brain is very active. The knowledge flows very easily.
Man, these guys were far more advanced than us.
Absolutely.
And this is why they say that Pushya is like the emperor of Nakshatra.
Exactly. It's the emperor of Nakshatra. And if you see, even Gautam Buddha was enlightened sitting under a peepal tree and sitting on a grass made of kusha grass. Today, many of us, and this was what I've been discussing with many of my course participants. I do some classes on weekends, and I was discussing with them, saying that today what is happening is we sit on synthetic mats for meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those vibrations, we need to ground ourselves. When you say ground yourself, every day, everybody needs to go barefoot and walk on grass. If you cannot walk on grass, just stand on grass. When the sunrise is happening, you stand on grass and you absorb the sun rays, and that is grounding your, it's even in your house, you see there's 3 pins. One is ground.
Yeah.
So you have 2 pins, which is actually, and then one is ground. That is the same phenomenon. See, many of us, we don't know how life works. Life is just like, they say, electricity. Life is like you plug something into the socket, okay, and you switch on, and the power comes in, and you see there is light or there is fan or whatever, something working. When you switch off, what happens? Where does the electricity go? Where does that life go? It all goes and merges with the Supreme.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that there is no electricity. When you switch it on, it'll come back. You switch it off, it goes back to the source, the original source. And that is the same concept of life. Is when you die, your soul is merging with Paramatma. This Jivatma is going and merging. If God switches on, we immediately come back and we start living. If he switches off, you go and merge with him. That is the concept of Jivatma and Paramatma.
Now, is there a concept where people with prominent Pushya Nakshatra may be rejected by one guru and then find a second guru?
Quite possible. Quite possible.
Well, because how mythology, Guru rejected Saturn.
Absolutely.
Saturn went into Shukracharya, Venus, she's the one who said, okay, I'll give you all the secret that so the theme is that you may be rejected by your first teacher, but then eventually you'll find a teacher who will accept you and give you whatever you miss.
See, what is very, very strange, Kapil, is Jupiter gets exalted in Saturn's nakshatra, and debilitated in Saturn's Rashi.
Debilitated in Saturn's Rashi, yeah. Because Saturn was like his Saturn that you rejected me.
Exactly.
Now when you come into my house,
exactly,
you ain't gonna be prospering.
That is the mythology behind, because he was rejected. Because what Brahaspati says is, I cannot teach you Shastras until you take a human form. Okay? Because he's the son of Surya Bhagwan. So he said, if you want to learn from me, then you have to be born as a mortal and come and then I'll teach you. Okay? So he takes a human form and starts learning from him. And Brahaspati then realizes that this guy is the son of Shani, the son of the Surya Bhagwan. So he says, no, go away. I don't want to teach you now. But Shani pleads with him, say that, please take my offering of Guru Dakshina, because if I do not give you the Guru Dakshina, that means whatever you taught me would be useless for me.
But then why did he tell him that you have to take human form to be learning from me? And then he rejects him when he does take that.
Exactly. It's strange. That's what I said. Jupiter is very, very tricky.
Selfish, man.
Selfish, yeah. It's about trying to
say
that
his mind, like, that's it. I don't want to teach you.
I don't want to teach you. So that's when rejected, and that is a curse on Shani, because Shani, whatever he learned from Guru, because he didn't give the Guru Dakshina, okay, he couldn't get the knowledge. Okay, today, this is why, Kapil, I believe that sometimes you need to really exchange some Guru Dakshina. You've been a great teacher, you've been teaching for free, but that was, in those times, people used to come and give, as you mentioned once to me, Havan Samagri. They used to bring, food, they used to, that was the exchange that used to happen. Nowadays, people are into, getting things for free. which is good, but you also need to know, if you really need to understand that knowledge, then you have to give something back to the guru, because that's where you're getting the original source of light which is coming from. It need not be money always. It could be in terms of love. It could be in terms of serving the guru. That was what, the in the Gurukul, all the students were asked to go to the forest and collect wood and bring it down for the yagna and for the preparation of food. They used to take care of the ashram, keep the cleanliness of the ashram, decorate them for all of. So that was the service. Today, nobody wants to serve. Everybody wants to get to the wisdom. They want knowledge, but nobody wants to serve. Forget serving the guru. They don't even serve humanity.
Mm-hmm.
They're so very selfish. They become all, like Jupiter, Brihaspati. It's always about thinking about themselves.
Right.
But Guru has a difference. Let me tell you, Jupiter wants the wellness of other people and neglects his own home. That is why some of them say, if Jupiter comes, typically, other combinations have to support. Jupiter in the 7th house is not supposed to be good for marital life.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Unless
they say
the
it is not
aspects, and most of the time you will see some planet aspecting or conjunct.
Conjunct. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have to look at the chart in totality. Other combinations should also support. But generally, you say they lose interest in marriage if it is in the 7th house. That they say is because they don't want marriage doesn't important for them. Obviously, the nakshatras and other various combinations have to be looked at. But that's it for me. Unless you have anything that you want to ask me about. Or quickly you want me to show you. Oh, one more topic that I wanted to show you is people with Pushya have this theme that a third party might seduce your spouse, just like Tara was seduced by Soma. Okay. Let me quickly show you a couple of charts very quickly to show you how Pushya is operating. It'll be very, Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the chart of Mother Teresa. Okay. I don't need to say anything. She has a Venus in Pushya Nakshatra. Okay. And she was the mother of the poorest of the poor. She was nurturing them. She used to pick people from the streets in Kolkata, and she also used to see, it is Venus, is Guru Shukracharya. Okay, Shukracharya had Mrit Sanjeevani Vidya. Mrit Sanjeevani used to revive the people who were dead. And that Venus is sitting in Pushya, and what she used to do is she used to pick up people who were almost dying and give them a life, give them medical attention, give them food, give them shelter. And people who were also dying, she used to give them death with dignity. Right? So that is what she meant. A beautiful death is for people who live like animals to die like angels, loved and wanted. This is what it is, her words, Mother Teresa. Okay, so you can see that Pushya quality is working in her chart. Now, this is a chart of Gordon Ramsay. He's a very, very popular celebrity chef in United Kingdom. He's, he's Scottish. Scottish, but people, in Scotland they say Scottish. T is silent for many of them. So you can see that Jupiter is there in Pushya Nakshatra in the 2nd house of nourishment, of nurturing. And one thing that he is very, very popular on television is he is known to criticize very frequently using the 4-letter word all the time. A chef. Again, what is he doing? He's actually spoiling his Jupiter there in the 2nd house, which is exalted. But he's spoiling that by he doesn't realize.
Oh, man.
Okay?
Also, oh, man. I mean, if you notice, besides Pushya, which is nourishment, food, restaurants, look at his Amatya Karka Mars in the third house. What is Mars? Army chef. Mars, sharp
Army
objects,
chef.
knives.
Knives.
That's
Absolutely.
what made him the career in...
restaurant business. He has a chain of restaurants. Huge chain of restaurants. It's called Michelin stars or whatever.
Oh,
like
yeah,
15,
the 3 Michelin star, 2 Michelin star restaurants.
Yeah, restaurants. So that's him.
So yeah,
So
Jupiter aspects his 10th house of career and
career. And it's the 10th lord also.
10th lord
It's
also.
the seventh lord of business, 10th lord of career.
But you see how quickly, like, just Amatya Karka gives you what is
very
that?
Easily. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Technical skills of hands with sharp objects.
Absolutely. Brilliant. So that's why whenever you have 2 or 3 events pointing you, or 3 or 4 things giving you good hints, then you can say that, oh, this guy is going to be into cooking, restaurant business, hospitality industry.
Yeah.
Okay. The only thing that if somebody had to advise him, I would say stop swearing. You're spoiling your Jupiter in the 2nd house. Pushya is, I said, is connected with philosophers, business gurus, advisors, and counselors. You can find some of the most, prominent counselors, new age gurus, all of them. And this is a chart of Deepak Chopra. He's called as a controversial new age guru by some people in the media. Okay, because he used to advocate alternative medicines. And he was a promoter of spirituality. You see, Saturn is sitting in Pushya Nakshatra. Okay, Saturn is about doing something which is old. Saturn is old, spiritual, bringing in Indian Ayurveda.
It's the Karka of Ayurveda, Saturn.
Yes.
Also, one advice I would give Deepak Chopra is if he has servants, he should pay them more as much as he can, take care of them.
Take care of
the
even
more
his
money
subordinates.
The servants, the more money he gets in his life.
Absolutely. That's very, very true. And also taking care of his subordinates or people who report into him, people who he takes assistance from. Pay them well, keep them happy.
Yeah.
That's when your consulting is going to be very, very, also you see, Kapiel, Saturn is sitting in the 6th house in his chart.
Yeah.
6th house is also about subordinates or your peers, your colleagues.
Yeah, your daily work colleagues.
Work colleagues. So that's a very, very good thing. You can give an advice to a guru, business guru, that pay them well, keep them happy.
Exactly.
When your Saturn is happy, then you won't be called a controversial new age guru.
Yeah.
You become controversial because maybe somewhere.
No, Saturn will simply give prosperity to him. When you take care of Saturn's servants, Saturn's going to reward him.
Absolutely. So that's how you see this. And so he regularly speaks about metaphysics and Vedantic philosophies. Again, Saturn is old. And Pushya is about preaching. It's about teaching. It's speaking philosophy, counseling, advising. He advises many corporations. Pushya is not about advising just individuals. It's about you can become advising corporations, institutions. Okay. And finally, I said there is a theme about third party seducing your spouse. And this is a chart of Prince of Wales, Prince Charles. And everybody knows he has got his Lagna there, but everybody knows about Lady Diana, Princess of Wales, and her relationship with many people.
Yeah.
Now, what that she has had. Now, it's very interesting to see.
Oh, that's right. Dodi Al-Fayed stole Diana from him.
Yes, Dodi Al-Fayed. It's like other people used to seduce. If you can go and read on Wikipedia, you'll find a lot of the relationship she had. She had a relationship with a butcher. Sorry, not a butcher, a butler. Sorry.
Oh man, you're going all dirty down south, man. You're with a butcher.
Yeah, with her
Is that
butler.
what they call it nowadays?
It's Rahu, I guess. All Rahu nakshatras are butchers.
That's what she said.
I think we should cut this part of the video. I don't think they should be going live.
She was with a butcher, man. Getting some meat chopped up.
I won't get a visa to go to Britain next time. If you don't cut this bit of this,
I can't, man.
They'll reject my visa. The crown prince will, not allow my visa to be processed. He'll say, don't come in.
Oh man.
Okay, so yeah, I think that's
also look at his Amatyakarka. Mars. He was in army, Royal Army.
Yeah.
Businesses in oil, petroleum.
Absolutely.
I mean, there you go. Bam. And it's Mars is a 10th ruler.
And Mars is in Jyeshtha Nakshatra. He's the eldest. In his yeah. So he's the crown prince, in the family.
Yeah.
And you see, also if you want to see in his chart, if you want to see about his mother, look at his moon. Moon is in Ashwini Nakshatra with Rahu. Rahu is magnifying.
Yeah.
So you can see his mother is going to be a very prominent personality because it's sitting in the 10th house. So very prominent. His mother is the...
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Kapil, that's it from me. So
great. Thank you so much, my man, for coming. And you obviously have the YouTube channel, Dr. Arjun Pai, Astrology. Right. And you got all that taking over the world soon. So that's good stuff, man. And I guess next one would be what? Ashlesha. Yep, we haven't covered it yet, right? So we'll cover that next. Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Pai.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kapil. Bye-bye.
That's what she said.